In the mid-2000s, highly complex and dangerous underwater carpentry work, from welding to demolition, was being carried out in major Italian ports and waterways. Yet, the national regulations governing commercial diving were still stuck in 1979.
That's precisely the challenge CEDIFOP set out to address. The 1979 ministerial decree was completely outdated compared to European standards. It still permitted autonomous tanks, the SCUBA system, for commercial worksites. This was inadequate for both operational needs and, critically, for diver protection in modern heavy-duty underwater work.
So, while divers were performing demanding tasks like cutting metal and concreting underwater, they were essentially using equipment not fit for purpose in a professional, hazardous environment. How did CEDIFOP begin to shift this deeply entrenched and frankly dangerous paradigm?
CEDIFOP embarked on a path of structural growth and strong cultural awareness raising. Their evolution is extensively documented in an archive of 406 newspaper articles, magazines, and press releases from 2005 to 2015, all available on their website. Publications like the Giornale di Sicilia and Mondo Sommerso began to report on unprecedented educational and operational activity in Palermo.
And this media coverage wasn't just about local interest, was it? It showcased a fundamental change in how divers operated.
Exactly. The images showed students no longer diving with recreational gear. Instead, they wore Kirby Morgan full-face helmets connected to the surface by an umbilical cable. This umbilical supplied air, ensured constant radio communication, and offered maximum protection. CEDIFOP used the media to assert a critical principle. A commercial diver isn't an athlete. They're a highly specialized worker requiring rigorous protection standards.
That's a powerful reframing, but simply changing practices locally isn't enough for systemic change. How did CEDIFOP gain the necessary authority to push for wider reforms?
International recognition was key. As their educational offerings solidified, CEDIFOP was admitted as the sole Italian full member within the IDSA, the International Diving Schools Association. This gave them immense authority and brought Italian expertise to European roundtables.
I can see how that would lend weight to their arguments. Was there a specific moment where this international presence translated into a concrete proposal for Italy?
There was a decisive step between 2008 and 2009 during an IDSA meeting in Rotterdam. At a table with top global experts from Norway, France, and the United Kingdom, CEDIFOP presented the Italian situation. They proposed to act as a trailblazer for regulatory renewal, with the idea of developing a pilot regional law in Sicily that would fully adopt the rigorous safety standards of the North Sea.
So the ambition was to elevate Sicilian diving standards to match the world's best, specifically those in the challenging North Sea environment. What happened once they returned to Italy with this bold vision?
CEDIFOP accelerated its professional and educational growth path. By 2011, newspapers documented Palermo hosting the first diver medic course, attracting professionals from across Italy. Later, the press reported on advanced top-up training integrated with international internships in Oslo, where students trained in Nordic waters using hot water suits.
They were essentially proving that Italian training could indeed meet and even lead international standards. Yet, despite these advancements, the inherent risks of the outdated regulatory framework must have persisted.
They did, unfortunately. Newspaper reports continued to highlight the dangers of lacking a specific law for maritime job sites. Tragic incidents such as the Capo San Marco event in Siaka between 2013 and 2014 tragically brought the urgency of mandating the surface supply system back to the forefront.
CEDIFOP, through publications like La Repubblica, reiterated the critical importance of technical adaptation for worker protection.
These tragic events must have added significant pressure to the institutional dialogue. How did CEDIFOP leverage these incidents to push for legislative change?
In 2014 and 2015, their commitment shifted firmly to the institutional level. They began a long, detailed and consistent dialogue with the directors and technicians of the Regional Department of Professional Training in Sicily. This wasn't about quick fixes, it was about making them understand the specificity of the commercial diver's role compared to traditional professions.
And did this dialogue yield the recognition they sought?
Absolutely. This synergy led to a fundamental milestone, the formal inclusion and recognition of the commercial diver, distinguished into inshore and offshore levels within the Directory of Professional Qualifications of the Sicilian region. It legitimized the profession in a way it hadn't been before.
That's a huge step, but the ultimate goal was a regional law, wasn't it?
Indeed. Strengthened by that recognition, the journey culminated in the drafting of Regional Bill No. 917 at the Sicilian Regional Assembly. News agencies like ANSA and Italpress, alongside major local dailies, highlighted how the text fully incorporated the guidelines and parameters defined years earlier in Rotterdam. Years of fieldwork, educational growth, and institutional dialogue reached their decisive moment.
So, from outdated regulations to a cutting-edge framework law, Sicily really did become a trailblazer in commercial diving safety, proving the power of consistent advocacy and international collaboration.
Precisely. The collaboration between the training world and institutions materialized in a framework law that set a new standard for the entire country.
If you found this discussion insightful, please share it with someone who might also appreciate it.